Hello everyone, my name is Shri, also known as Zyphon, and today we're going to be learning about calculus. But before we get into calculus, I wanted to go ahead and establish a couple concepts from precalculus. So in precalculus, we have talked about domain, asymptotes, also the unit circle, which is very big for calculus, and everything of that sort. But I just wanted to go really into basics, I guess more so algebra basics. So we learned that f of x is a is is a relationship that assigns, I'm gonna choose red here, each element in set A to each element in set B. So let's go ahead and talk about what that means. So if we had two sets, we could call this A and we could call the other circle B. If we had these sets, let me choose a different color. If we had a value in set A, and this could be the X value or of any sort, each of them corresponds to one Y value. So we have this one going to here, this one going to here. And it's sort of this for every single value in set A to set B. And this is what f of x basically means. If we were to draw a graph, let's just draw a parabola, then we know that if we were to go to this point here, I'm going to make that green. If we were to go to this point here, we know that it has one x value and one y value. So y, x, 1. And that is what makes a graph. That is what makes f of x. And this can be called f of x. Let's rewrite that. F of x. There we go. And that is what f of x is. Sort of think of this as, I guess, some form of machine where we have a function that takes in an input, x, and takes this set, which is called A, and releases a set y that is part of a set B. There we go. But other ways that we could look at it, so bringing in precalculus concepts now instead of just algebra concepts, this could be a domain, which means the set of all eligible inputs. And then we could name set B the codomain. And if you remember precalculus, for every tangent function, there is a co-function to that. And the codomain actually includes what is better known as the range. So I'm going to say range. And that's where you get all your familiar values of x and y. So the range isn't actually what comes out of the set A. It's actually what includes the y point, but it's part of a bigger set called the codomain. It's kind of like a Venn diagram in some way. So with this now in mind, let's go ahead, introduce and use concepts. So the notation of f of x, notation, I completely butchered that notation. Notation of f actually comes from x going to y, or as a goes to b, and this is what actually makes up f of x. So f of x, this is technically one value, and this is equal to y. This just means equal to y. And this was what becomes f of x. Another thing that we wanted to introduce is just like simple notation. So we could do a double bar r, and this just means the set of all real numbers. And this could be anything from a number line like 2 to 5. And if we were to take a function of all integers, so f of all integers, let's input into the machine that we have before, the function machine, we would get all real numbers. So double bar r. And they have to be real numbers because that's how the machine works. If they input a non-real number, then that is not a proper function. So this is known as a real valued function. Function. There you go. So this may be a bit advanced so far, but we're just now establishing all these concepts from precalculus, basically defining what f of x is. Let's go ahead and use yellow for that. F of x. This is everything that's f of x. But now let's go ahead and start our limit notation. Let's go ahead and do that in the next video.